Hey guys, welcome back to the Fool Me Once podcast. It's Maris.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back. It's Andrew.
Welcome to our very first episode of our Creating Your Reality series.
Yes.
I have been so pumped about this. Honestly, I cannot tell you how hard it was that we did not kick off the Actualize launch with this series because seriously. It's like too on the nose. Like, Actualize is making reality of whatever your dreams are, like your visions are, like what it is that you want to achieve in this life, like what are you here to do in this life. And when I was planning out these different monthly series, I knew that I just couldn't start with this because not only is it so golden of a topic that we need at least the full month, so we need all 20 episodes for this that are coming out in August, but we launched mid-July, and I had to think of a series like that I felt in July was going to be perfect for a 10-episode series that would really lay down the foundation of people improving in their personal and their professional lives. And that is how I came up with the communication series, which we just wrapped up and we had a ton of fun doing that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I know it's not as sexy as what we're about to get into, and I'm not going to lie, I was so excited since we first started in July to get to this one. Yeah. But communication's so foundational, and I did have so much fun doing those episodes.
Yeah, like we learned a lot. It was funny how like we never talked about this in any of the episodes, but like during those 2-week periods that we were recording that, we were currently helping people in our personal lives. I was going to say professional. We tried in our professional lives, but you know, not everyone's ready. But in our personal lives, we definitely had a lot of intimate. It was almost odd, like how on point it was. Like we would be like recording podcasts and then later that day being on like 2-hour phone calls with these people that we were trying to help in our personal lives, like with their communication skills. And we're like, you're gonna love today's episode. Like today's episode is literally about this.
Yeah, we'd have episodes about like confiding in people, and then we're literally helping people in our lives like learn a lot of these same lessons. It was so much spillover from what we're doing here to our real life.
But honestly, that's just how we know that we're aligned, and it worked out. Like I'm not surprised at all now, like why we felt like that was so important, because the communication series, don't skip over it, y'all. Like don't sleep on that series, even though it's not the most fun. It's literally the thing that like most people go to therapy over, so it's like the most obvious, like not exciting topic. Yeah. But I say that, and on the same token, it is one of the things that will make you so successful in your personal and your professional lives. And we ended that series talking all about your internal dialogue, how you talk to yourself, and how that will translate in your ability to really like grab life by the horns and like decide like what it is that you want out of your life and go after it and get it. Because when you can speak positively to yourself and figure out like, you know, how to have that internal dialogue be helping you to manifest the things that you want in your reality, like that is truly the foundation of what you have to do if you're going to be able to make the most of this series. So go and check that out if you haven't already.
Yeah, and it segues perfectly into this series, which is really why we structured it like that. So if you go back and check that out, it's just going to like set you up for this series and everything that we're going to be talking about here.
But to everyone who's not going to do that, then welcome to your first podcast episode.
I love it.
My name's Maris.
What's up, y'all? I'm Andrew.
Just kidding. Okay. So creating your reality. I want to set the stage for this because it could sound, especially if you know me or if you know Andrew and I both from our marketing company that we've had for around 9 years now. We have been known for branding, social media, helping other people create their brands and websites and online presence, as well as like their footprint offline, right? Like we've been helping people with like in their communities to build brands and awareness and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we've really helped build those like repeat and referral. You know what? They should just shorten it. A repeat business is repeat and referral.
It's such a Gen Z thing to do.
Right.
To just like condense it.
And come up with a new word. That's what we really have specialized in, right? And it's number one, what I did when I first kicked off the company before Andrew came and started working with me. The first few years, it was so contingent on me having faith and trust in myself. And how am I going to build a referral based business when I was only 23? I didn't go to college, and we'll get into that later, but I had everything like stacked against me. I didn't have any experience in marketing. Like, really, truly, the only thing that I knew was I wanted to have my own business, and I really wanted to help people. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt that if someone knew how to do something, especially in this day and age, even though that was only 2015 when I started it, I knew I could learn how to do whatever it is that I needed to do to fill whatever the needs were of my clients. Like, I knew I could learn those skills, and I trusted in myself to be able to do that. And the company grew to be wildly successful. Like, it expanded across the country. We worked with people all over the place. And like little Maris, like that had no business starting a business, was still able to do that. And it was with pure optimism and belief in myself. And so I want to use a lot of my lessons around mindset, around, you know, digging into other success stories of other people who came from struggling backgrounds who then made something of themselves. Like, I want to talk about that kind of stuff. I want to talk about technology, right? Mm-hmm. Like Andrew, you know, he had an IT background before I met him and a sports marketing background. And so technology is huge, especially in 2024 with AI and everything else that's happening. Like, we want to talk about that. We want to talk about law of attraction and more recent things that we've learned, whether that's, you know, overcoming money blocks and what are the mental blocks that people really struggle with, right? Like, how are we goal setting? How are we managing our time? Like, creating a reality is not just from a marketing basis, although we want to go over and absolutely will be going over a ton of marketing advice in this monthly series. Like, really the foundation of it is going to be helping you overcome the mindset obstacles and reframing how you think about your day to day. And how are we thinking about how you can wake up every single day and love every aspect of your personal life to where you can then pour, you know, from a filled cup into your professional life, hopefully help you connect with your passion and your purpose so that you have kind of that natural drive and inspiration. But all of that to say that no matter where you are at any given moment of your day, we want you to feel like you feel very strongly that you chose within reason, like what you have the ability to control, that the things that you can control, that you feel really steady, really calm, really grounded about those things. And you know that you set yourself up for success.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Pulling from all your life experiences and all of that thing to really make reality of those dreams and goals that you have that you want to accomplish.
Yes. So bringing it back to 2015 when it was really cool to have like Motivation Monday and whatever, like alliteration in your content schedules, we're going to do that on this podcast.
Why not? Yeah. I
don't know if people do that anymore, but I don't really care. There's so many nuanced topics that I want to talk about in the realm of this that I thought, okay, if I'm going to organize this to where we're mixing things up, but still covering all those areas that we talked about, I wanted to have a themed alliteration style content calendar to structure these topics. So I'm going to give that to you guys. So Monday is going to be Mindset Monday. Tuesday is going to be Tech Tuesday. Wednesday is Wisdom Wednesday. That's really the one where we're going to dig into the wisdom of other successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah. We'll take a look at what made other people successful and like pass along a lot of those lessons that we learned from them and share them with you guys.
Yes. And then Thursday is Thrive Thursday. That one, we thought thrive in terms of like, well, someone who's thriving is someone who's super consistent. They have their head wrapped around what they're doing. They have some sort of action plan in place that is seemingly successful, or at least getting them one step closer. So Thursdays are going to be a lot of topics around like goal setting and accountability and planning, and like a lot more hyper focus on the tangible things that you can be doing. And then Friday is Future Friday, and that's kind of a play off of the concepts of like manifestation, law of attraction, and really just kind of visualizing. So when you think about vision boards and stuff like that, tools that people can use to kind of, you know, if you don't believe in manifestation, then just believe in like visualizing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like, I hate to break it to you, but it is the same thing. If you've ever visualized like having a family or whatever, then you manifested it. Okay. But I know that that's kind of like a woo-woo word or whatever that some people get weird about, but it's absolutely real. And we can just stick to like the concept of visualizing. But Future Fridays are going to be around the things that you can be doing to stay really grounded in your bigger vision, like having your bigger vision for your life and understanding what that is. And the closer that we help you connect with your purpose and like your soul's passion and your soul's mission, then I feel like those things will kind of like all fall into place, and you'll see what we mean by that. But that's going to be the weekly schedule. And then, of course, each of our episodes are always going to go over the common obstacles of that lesson, of that topic, the opportunities in learning them. And then we have a part 2 episode of, most of the episodes have an extended, but that part 2 is for the people who are truly looking to like delve deeper. So if you're someone who would already be like trying to find a course on one of these topics, like, you know, are taking classes on these different topics, or downloading people's like free guides or freebies, or like journal prompts or checklists or whatever, that extended episode, as it applies, you know, it's on a case-to-case basis, but anytime we do an extended episode, we'll let you know, and you can access those through one of our memberships. And then that's where we give tons of those ebook guides, journals, like, you know, action prompts that you could either do yourself, or you could give to your kids, or you could give to your employees, or whatever the situation is. But it's kind of for the people who want to go a level deeper and mastering some of these concepts. Yeah,
there's so many great things to cover. I can't even wait to get into all these things.
I know. To me, creating your own reality is like choosing what you're doing, right? It's like choosing your life path versus taking, you know, a life path that you feel like you're supposed to take, or someone else wants you to take, or the path that your parents took. And that's like a huge one. I see so many parents, like what it feels like, kind of like, you know, molding their kids. Like I know Andrea has like a ton of friends who's like went straight into their family business, and it's probably just because we're like connected to so many entrepreneurs that it just, as these kids are getting older, like I just see in all different industries, it's like, oh, going to work for my dad or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of molding of the kids to do exactly what the parents did. Yeah. So, and it's like, who knows if that's what they're actually passionate about and what they want to do. Maybe they just think that's what's expected of them.
Yeah, like so we're currently watching Unstable right now.
That's such a great show with Rob Lowe and his son.
Yeah, and like the son is like, Dad, I don't want to be just like you. Like they're both like science nerds.
Yeah,
and the
he's
dad
like, I want to play the flute. And
yeah, he's like, I want to be a flutist or whatever.
He's like, is it flautist or flutist?
Yeah. And he's like, that's my passion, right? And the dad's like, no, I want you to like, you're too smart, and like you need to be like me, and you need to learn public speaking, and you need to like have all these skills. And he wants his child to have all the same skill sets that he has, because that's what's made him successful. And in his eyes, his child will only be successful if he has all the same skills that made him successful. But we all know that that's not the reality. There's a million different paths that people can take in life. And some people are completely content not having, you know, jobs like being a public speaker, being in front of a group of people. Like that success is different, and what success means for different people is wildly different. Like there's a huge range of what it means to be successful. Lots of people thrive and are extremely successful being stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home dads. Like, so we really want to help you, no matter what it is, like uncover that thing that will make you feel the most at peace. Yeah. And that is such a key indicator of whether or not you're self-actualized, is that you feel like you're doing the thing that fills your heart and soul, that you're here to do, and you would do it whether you were making money doing it or not. Mm-hmm. That is how you're gonna know. So a lot of that's like connecting to your inner child, like remembering what you liked when you were a little kid, like, you know, and if you didn't like arts and crafts, then like you're probably not a creative, right?
Yeah,
like,
plain and simple.
Maybe you're a numbers person. Like, who knows? Everyone's different. So yes. So on this podcast, especially in this series, it's so important that we cover so many things, as you can tell. I'm already like so hype about it.
Yeah, you got so much. I don't even know
where we are.
You are on a roll.
We're not even on an outline right now. I'm just going all in on this.
I think it's cool that we're just sharing, though, about like getting people hype about the series, because you should be really hype about this material, but then just like speaking to our experiences with it and kind of like leading us into, because we're not going to cover everything today. Like that's why we have 20 episodes that we're going to talk about this stuff. So yeah, it's just, I'm pumped too. You just have your mind the way it's going a million miles an hour with all these things. It's
I think that I'm so passionate about it too, because at this stage of my life, like in my early 30s, but being someone who started a business at 23, I have a lot of experience. Mm-hmm. Like I've grown a team, I've had employees, I've worked remotely with like big agents and different companies like across the country. We've expanded outside of real estate. If you don't know this, like when I'm talking about the marketing company, like our original niche was real estate agents, and then it expanded to not just being like individual agents, but then teams, and then brokerages, and then, you know, I mean, I'm not going to get into like all the structures and nitty gritty of real estate, but there's a lot of different avenues. There's a lot of other vendors of real estate that then we expanded and started working with, and it's its whole own little world, like the real estate world.
Yeah, what you built was so impressive. I mean, even I've been working with you for a while now, but even before I started working with you, you started that at 23 and grew it to this like awesome thing that a lot of people told you in the beginning was a dumb idea or wasn't going to work. So
yes, and awesome. A lot of the things that people said were going to happen absolutely happened. But the difference is I believed in myself, and like I overcame those obstacles because I always focused on the opportunities of, you know, of getting over those barriers, of like breaking down the mold of like what people expected from me and like wanted of me, and like just what had already existed. Like at that point, there was not all like, I don't even think Canva, like a design, a free like design that makes it easier for people to design. Like if you're not familiar with it, like if you're familiar with Adobe and like InDesign or graphic design, it's like a graphic designer's tool, but it makes it very easy for just the average person who doesn't have any design background to use that. I say all that to say like this was not even like a thing at the time when I started my marketing company. So many people now, quote unquote, do marketing or have marketing companies or have started freelance businesses, but that was not the landscape in 2015. Like early 2015, whenever I started this, like it just wasn't very common for people that young to be starting their own businesses. That kind of popped up a lot more like a few years later, because I remember being like, oh, now everyone has a business, but it just wasn't very popular back then. So I say that to say, like, it's very important I say that in 2024, that it was a giant fear of mine that I was going to fail. And I didn't know, like, at all why I would be successful or, like, what was going to come of it. I just simply was like, I want to help people. I saw there's a huge missing piece in the real estate industry of people having, like, one-on-one marketing support while not having to hire in-house, because a lot of real estate agents like cannot afford the overhead of like hiring someone. And then what I noticed was people were hiring people in-house, but then they either couldn't afford someone that had the proper experience, or they had absolutely no clue what they were hiring for, because they were real estate agents, they weren't marketing experts, and they are all working under these umbrella brokerages. So yes, like the companies like Keller Williams provide like a ton of, you know, classes, and they have it is a great brokerage if you're just starting out because of the training.
The training is phenomenal.
So they do a really good job at helping the agents understand how to run their business like a business, like treat their real estate business like a true business. And so they really encourage leveraging and outsourcing. And so that's kind of the world that I was in. I was an assistant for real estate agents at a Keller Williams office in Atlanta. And so I was exposed to a lot of this and understood that it was encouraged for the agents to go out and, you know, leverage a lot of this stuff to get that sort of support, right? So, but what was missing was high level custom marketing that was affordable. Yeah. And so I was like, well, I'll just do that, you know? And so I got everything in the book that, like, why would that make sense? Well, I was one person, first of all. I didn't really have any marketing background. That should be first of all. Number two, I was just one person. So, like, what was this big dream that I had to work with all these agents and all these teams? Like, it just seemed ridiculous. But I always believed, like, no, like, I know... Like, I learned the skills, I learned how to do them quickly, I learned how to do them at a high level, that I learned how to train other people how to do everything that I could do, you know, until I learned that no one could do it like I could do it, at least the people I was hiring. Like, it was my creative vision that a lot of people were hiring us for, so I scaled back on the team, restructured how things were going, but whatever. I've already kind of laid the groundwork for how it became successful. And I say all that now to say, when I think about creating my own reality, I had to really, like, question whether or not I was happy in that. And the company is still alive and successful, and I still love working with real estate agents, like the right agents that have the right mindset and understand, like, you know, the importance of the skill sets that we offer. But a lot of people in that industry didn't understand that. And so it really pushed me out the door in terms of thinking, like, okay, this is a very niche industry that I'm in, but how can I expand and apply my skills that I've learned over the almost last, like, 10 years, right? How can I apply these skills to a business that I'm passionate about, and not only apply them to a new business, which is Actualize, which is what we've launched, but how can I incorporate other things into this business that truly feed my soul, which is helping people with their personal and their professional development, and using, you know, technology like YouTube and podcasts and online courses and all this stuff to be able to serve a broader audience. And then how can I also then, if we are creating this content that's going to help people to become self-actualized, help the business owners to be able to reframe their mindsets so that they're happier, healthier, more fulfilled, more on mission, and more clear of what their vision for their business is, then why not still offer all those same marketing services? Like, I can still, like, get entrepreneurs excited and pumped through the Actualize brand, where they're working on themselves and learning these different things that they can totally do on their own. But I can also then be there to say, hey, if you need a brand refresh, if you need a website, if you need coaching, if you need anything like that, like, I can help you in the marketing space. Like, I can take new headshots for you. Like, we could do a super badass, cool, like, promo video for you. Like, I can apply all these different skills under this one brand. And I'm doing that with the same kind of gumption and belief, right? Yeah. Like, in myself that I had when I started Mayor Stink. And I have no reason not to believe that that would be successful, when this time around I'm actually starting with some sort of skill set and background that I wasn't starting with that. So if you don't believe me, just go and look at, like, what I did with that, right? Like, talk to me about that story. And that should be truly enough for you to feel like if you're have any sort of experience, real world experience, period, we believe in you and believe that you can fully bring your passions and your visions to life and turn them into a business. Or just accomplish some personal goals.
You're so brilliant, by the way. I'm just like sitting here admiring just how impressed I am by you and how deep you dug into your tool bag for Actualize. Because you're not only pulling all the skills and everything you learned through Marist Inc., but it was like stuff you picked up from childhood and your dad being into personal development. Just like everything. It's like everything that you've ever experienced in your life went into Actualize, and you really true. Like made reality of that. But
thank you.
Spent lots of time like meditating on like how you wanted to bring this thing to life. So it's just very cool, and it's cool we're sitting here talking about it, and then in hopes of helping other people do the same thing with their visions and their ideas.
Thank you. Yes, I feel like it was very important to me that I wanted to integrate like every and all versions of myself, like every version of myself, which to me just looks like each new version of myself is just someone who's like integrating every lesson of every past version, right? So at this point, like the newest version, the highest version of me is going to be truly integrating like everything I've been through up to this point. Because if we're just like trying to escape old versions of ourselves, our past where we made mistakes, where we didn't like that, where we didn't know anything, if we look back on old versions of ourselves and we're like embarrassed about what we didn't know, then we're not like thinking of ways to integrate what we did know at that time. We're just so focused on creating the new that we're losing sight of how powerful each and every lesson in life that we've ever gone through, every obstacle that we've overcome should have, and if you look back and reflect long enough, will teach you a lesson that you can then integrate to become a stronger and wiser version of yourself. I think the problem is a lot of people want to forget the past and want to sweep the past under the rug and don't want to look at it because they feel embarrassed. But you don't have any reason to be embarrassed about your past because you were doing the best you could with the tools that you had and the experience you had at that point.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like I wish I knew when I was younger how to integrate those different versions of your past self and apply them to make reality of situations. Because unlike you, like I took a more traditional path where I went to college, I got a degree, I worked a couple corporate jobs, realized I hated that, but I always kind of knew I had this passion or desire for entrepreneurship or starting a business or creating something. But my parents just didn't equip me with that mentality or that idea of like you can be a self-sufficient human even and like kind of make something out of nothing. Like they worked comfortable corporate jobs. I had most things in life handed to me. I didn't have Marist's background where your parents from a young age, like you were taught like how to work and fend for yourself and really learned what survival mode was like.
Yeah, it wasn't just learning it was like required.
Yeah, and then,
I was like in literal survival mode.
And then when we met, I was still on my parents' phone plan at 28. So it's like
two different worlds.
Yeah, so like I wanted all these things that like you were able to create like with Marist Inc., but just wasn't equipped from my parents to do that. And like
I don't think like the grit and stuff that comes with entrepreneurship is like no joke. And for someone who just had like a few chores around the house that were like, I don't know.
Yeah, you
could just imagine like the two different worlds. Like someone who like I would get like 3 extra weeks of dishes if like my dad inspected the dishwasher and there was like eggs dried on the spatula. Like that was a big one. Like if we didn't make sure that we were like cleaning the counters appropriately, like we were like graded on everything. Like I was graded on like our dives. I mean, that was for fun, but like it was just very like my dad's whole thing was like, and my mom, like they're a great team in terms of like teaching us and equipping us for like becoming adults. And I was just talking to them a couple of days ago and I was like, honestly, I said it at different stages of my life, but like especially now, I'm like, as hard as it was to like be responsible for like anything and everything and be like in 5th grade babysitting for my 5th grade teacher and like my twin and I having our mommy's little helper business where we would like help wrap Christmas presents for the neighbors, and like we would do the neighbors' laundry and like clean their kitchen, and like we had services, and I was like 11, and I was like literally going around and learning like hard work ethic, and like Jacqueline and I were like a 2-for-1 deal where we made $10 an hour, so we both made $5 an hour, and like I never made allowance. Like all of us kids were responsible for every chore in the house, and we didn't make a single penny from it. So like we were just taught like this is just, there's a right way to do things, which there's lots of ways to do things, but like in terms of like cleaning, like anytime I clean the house, Andrew's like, I feel like a professional cleaner came.
Oh my gosh, it's so meticulous. And I mean, when we met and we were talking about our childhood, it was very clear Mara's parents were raising you guys to be either like incredible workers, self-sufficient humans, or like going to be really good business owners. You were just equipped with all those skills. Yeah. I was kind of taught like, you're going to be provided for no matter what, or like if whatever you need, like we're here to help you. And just wasn't like, it wasn't like laid out with that structure and that determination that I would say your parents had of like, hey, we're going to make sure when you turn 18, like you can go out there and like crush life.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we met, needless to say, we came from two different worlds. So then it was like at the point where we were then choosing to work together and be business partners, we had to kind of figure out like, well, naturally, like it was my company. I'd already started it. So I was kind of running the show. I was the visionary. I had all the skill sets. But Andrew was great, especially when he first started and being like in a support role. Mm-hmm. It wasn't great for at that point, our engagement. We ended up calling off our wedding and like breaking up, quote unquote, like label wise for a time period while we got him kind of acquainted with the business, because it was very challenging to be like a boss and
balancing
like
those
a
dynamics.
New wife, like we couldn't do that. Like,
and we didn't want to start a marriage like that.
Yeah. So we just wanted to balance out and like whatever. So there was like a lot of catching up and like just different things that we had to do in order to get to a place where we were both running the company, having a team beneath both of us, and that he kind of oversaw the team. And then we grew in all these different things. I kind of already talked about that, but I say all this to say that like, this is a lot of years ago. This is like 7 years ago, right? Since Andrew joined me or something like that. Like, I don't know, 5 to 7 years, something like that. And now when we were like really reflecting, probably like a year and a half ago was when we first had the idea of wanting to create something different, like just not feeling fulfilled in the industry specifically that we worked with, like finding more passion for the people who didn't notoriously have the marketing support, like the people who had true mission, true purpose, like in creating something brand new, like wanting to start, like their own little local community bakery because one didn't exist, or I don't know, like the people who just had a vision for something and wanted to create it, right? Before that, we were working with a lot of real estate agents, and that's like where I started the business. And it's not to say those people don't have passion and that being a real estate agent isn't their mission and purpose. Like if that's your mission and purpose, then that's great, like go be a real estate agent. But for me, like I was met with a lot of people who didn't seem to be rooted in passion and mission in that industry, and it became very disheartening and soul-sucking, honestly, to me, to pour all of this, like wanting to like story tell with marketing and like really get down to the root of like people's authenticity and like why they felt so passionately about this. And it just was a mismatch. Like imagine like me taking that kind of passion and wanting to tell someone's story and like help them bring a brand to life or a website to life, and then being met with like, I mean, I just want to, how am I going to make the most money? Like create whatever brand's going to get me the most leads, like get me the most, like, I don't know, like you come up with the verbiage. Like, I just want you to write whatever you think you should write on the thing. Like, haven't you been doing this for a bunch of years? Like, what are your top agents putting on their website? Just put that on my website. Like, that was very disheartening for me. That's like a huge misalignment. And not only my skills and abilities being applied to something, but like not not getting to like co-create with people who really from like a soul core level, we're like trying to make a difference. So as soon as I realized that, I realized like I do not like being known for being this like marketing social media guru in this space, in this industry. Like it's great for a lot of people, but like I have way deeper desires to like uncover people and their authentic selves and like help them figure that out. So I needed to reframe how I was applying my skills. And that's what we want to help a lot of people do. And then I needed to merge in like, well, what is it? Andrew and I want to do stuff together. So what are the things Andrew's interested in that he would be super hype about? And then let's create a business around that. So then that led us to Actualize, where we get to fulfill both of our desires, like the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
like,
this podcast, like we have the cooking YouTube channel too, because we're very passionate about cooking. We had to take a long look at, okay, like what are all the things that we're passionate about? And then what are all the skills that we picked up along the way, even in Maristink? Like, let's not just completely run from that because there's elements of it we don't like. Like, how do we integrate all those things and then apply them to this new vision that we want to go forward with?
Yeah, to where we can like merge the worlds of helping people with their personal and their professional development so that overall they're living, you know, their best self-actualized life where they feel super in alignment with what they're here to do and who they want to help. Or just like Andrew said, like having like just even like the little wins, right? Like overcoming like just different obstacles like in your personal or your professional lives. So we have honestly so much to get into, which is, you know, great because we have 20 episodes coming out this month. So I want to save some of it before we go down like the deepest rabbit hole. But I hope, I don't know, like we had a different plan for this episode, but where we were going to go over some obstacles and opportunities around mindset blocks. But
yeah, I think we should save it.
I think we might save that because I think we kind of talked about our own obstacles and opportunities that we found out of our own stories. So we hope this is enough to get you guys like super excited about who is going to be educating you in this next monthly series and all the monthly series to come to come after this, and the communication series that came before this. Definitely go check that out if you haven't already. There's not going to be an extended to this episode. This is just to get you guys kind of familiar with us if you're not yet familiar with us and our story and why we're even doing any of this, really. Yeah. This is our reality that we're creating, and we can't wait to dig into so many lessons that we learned over the last decade through the Maristink building of that company to really help you guys like hone in on your passions, your skills, and how you can just even potentially pivot them to a new path that makes you feel as hype and excited as we are for this brand.
Yeah, we have no shortage of stories and lessons and lots of mistakes that you can even learn from that we've made. I know I've made plenty that we can hopefully pass on to you guys, and then you don't have to make those same ones. So we're super stoked for this series. I mean, we have 20 episodes planned. We could probably talk for 8 hours on each of them.
Yes.
So our biggest challenge will be condensing everything into one episode.
But we have the rest of our lives to give you guys episodes and content.
Yeah, so. We're not going anywhere anytime soon.
So yeah, look forward to those, and that's where we'll get back into tomorrow. We'll get back into the more traditional like obstacles, opportunities, and then all of that. But thanks guys so much for listening to the podcast or joining us on the Actualize Lifestyle YouTube channel, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys tomorrow.